Welcome back, everybody, to another week of Bibbidi Bobbidi Bros. I'm Josh. This is Pierce.
Heyo.
This week is a full episode of Dad Advice. We are getting into part one of our advice for your first trip to Disney. So, that's going to be good. I think, we're pretty much experts. So
I was just going to say, keep that in mind. We are not experts. And this is pure opinion on just experience that we've had in the past. And, just a few ideas out there. But please feel free to hop in the comments and give us your opinions on our opinions.
I would actually like to also remind everybody that keep this in mind in a minute, nearly every episode I tell you, don't take my word for that because I haven't done research and that might not hold true. So, okay. How about personal news? You got anything good?
Well, we got spring breaks coming up soon for my oldest. So that's going to be fun. We're not going to do anything. We're actually going to take her to my mother-in-law's and along with her sister who's not in school yet and take like 3 days off and try to get like some projects done around the house that we've been putting off because with two kids, 5 and under, it's difficult to achieve anything
Yes.
as far beyond like normal cleaning. Like it'd be nice to get these Christmas trees put away. And what you don't see in this picture is our 7-foot tree over here that's still up. And it is middle of March. So, we're probably due to get those things put away. So it's been difficult this year, just getting by. So, so that's going to be the focus.
Spent too much time in Disney.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
exactly.
That's where you've been the whole time. So, gotta catch up.
Other than that, I mean, not really anything else.
Yeah, we had, I've been doing once a year a father-daughter dance since 2019, 7 years. And this was my last one. My youngest is aging out. She's going to intermediate school next year. It's just a new era.
Yeah.
And you got it. It's bittersweet. I had the best time last night at the last one. I had a lot of fun. But, you got to move on and do other things. We'll do plenty of daughter dates, with her and I still do them with my oldest. But there is something special about, Dad getting to take them to their first dance. So it's cool. I'm a big fan.
And I'm looking forward to that when that time comes around for my girls. I mean, obviously, my wife and I had kids a little bit later in life than you and I did, or well, I guess than you did compared to me.
We did not have kids together.
We did not.
We did not. Noted.
But obviously, we're about the same age, and I waited longer to have kids. And so those are definitely things that I'm going to look at in the future. But my oldest is 5, so we still got.
You got a lot of time.
I don't know when they start doing them, but if it's
kindergarten.
Like first, kindergarten. Oh, so that'll be like next year,
dude. You've got something to look forward to, man. Yeah, I can't wait to live vicariously.
I'm getting her flowers, and it'll be have her new dress.
I took Alex, got her nails done.
I know. I saw them today. Those were crazy. Those look nice.
Nice nails. We did it right. It was fun.
Things like that, though. Like I know what's she in like 4th grade?
Yeah.
I mean, she just does like when she talks and everything, and like with the nails and everything, she just doesn't come across as a 4th grader. But then like when she's talking about like boyfriends and all that kind of stuff, it cracks me up.
It is. It's very 4th grade when you get to that.
Yes.
Yeah. Funny. That's about all I got. We can kind of jump into it. I do have one thing. We got some fan mail.
Oh, that's right. We did. We got some fan mail. That's right.
We have fan mail. And this is anonymous. Fan mail. I'm going to paraphrase here, but it says, Josh, you are my favorite Disney expert and podcaster, and this is the greatest podcast ever. Then this person goes on to say, listening to the pod this morning, dude, you are a bad travel agent. Yeah, yeah. Once again,
Hmm.
friend, I've told you all, don't take my word for any of this.
Yeah.
I just read headlines and then make note that you should go look up the info because it's
Well, and
interesting.
also we have said multiple times, get a hold of a Disney travel agent.
Yes,
That is
get
the
a
way to
hold
go. We
of a
know
Disney
people.
travel
If
agent.
you have any questions, we can send you to
Yeah,
those people that we know. So, do not hold back from asking questions. They're always very happy to help,
yep,
especially if you have a trip in mind that they can help start getting booked.
yeah. So I'm going to make a correction.
Hmm.
I made assessment or an assumption on what I thought the Disney dining plan was in the past. That is not true. It is for value resorts. For value resorts, apparently you get the quick service dining
Oh,
plan
okay.
free.
Oh, that's not a bad
For
deal then.
it's not for the mid and the deluxe resorts, you get the regular. I
Yeah.
think this is only for people with the Disney Visa,
Okay.
the
Well,
credit or
listen,
debit
people.
card.
If you need a Disney Visa, just go to Chase or whatever bank that has them. It's very simple to do. Get yourself a
Yeah,
Disney Visa, even
it's
if you
just a
don't want to
debit.
use it. Yeah,
Yeah.
even if you don't want to use it, just get it so you can get in to get free
Yep.
access to certain things at Disney anyway. So just don't.
Yep.
If you don't do credit cards, that's fine. They have a debit card, and I think you have to like book it on there. But then however
Yeah.
you pay for your trips,
Yeah.
playing around that, and you can
Plus,
get discounts by using it too. So.
yeah, discounts. It's like 10% off of every merchandise you buy. So
Mhm.
just put your funds into that and pay for it that way.
Yeah.
With that being said, I will plug a friend. And of course, you have someone you work with.
Hmm.
And we've had a couple others. We've been through a few. This one is a friend of ours. I'm going to plug Sarah Coyle here with Sarah and the
Hmm.
Magic on TikTok. I think she can, I believe that's her name. Watch. I probably screwed that up too. But
We'll
she,
try to put it. We'll try to put it in the chat. So if
yes, we
you
will
have
do
any
that. We'll
questions,
try to
make sure
put
we
it
get it
in.
right. Yeah.
Yeah, in the description. She is excellent. She gave me all of my advice on my first trip years ago. She keeps up on everything. She goes usually about once a year, maybe more. So she's up to date on all the new stuff. And she's just wonderful to work with. So she's a great person. And I think, I'm going to plug a friend there. So for what it's worth, check it out. We also have some other suggestions we can give if you're interested. So let us know. A lot of good people who
Hmm.
can do this, but Sarah's great. So, with that being said, what's first on our itinerary?
So first is when to visit Disney World, or I guess Disneyland, but most of the time we just talk about Disney World.
Yeah, I think that you need to take a few things into consideration, and one of them is later on in the itinerary. But you got to look at your budget. Different times
Hmm.
of the year cost a lot more money. If you're going over a holiday, you're going to pay more. I think you also got to decide, do you have kids that are going? Are those kids in school? Are you willing to take them out of school? And if not, obviously your timeline is very limited. You're talking summer, spring break, Christmas break, maybe a fall break in there, what have you. Um, Note that those times will be the busiest times for the park because that's when everybody's free. So I say if you're willing to take your kids off school, take them out of school, to consider February, January after the first, obviously, September, October, before the holidays hit, times that aren't in the summer but aren't near the major holidays yet. One, it's cheaper. Two, it's more comfortable with the weather by far. So that's my take on that. A lot of times when you're going isn't dictated by your own desire or what you prefer. It's dictated by your life schedule. So, you know, that's my tips. You got anything more than that?
No, I think you make a good point there with like how what your life allows. But let's put it in the point of view that you can start scheduling your trip a year out or 11 months is which a lot of Disney people do, especially DVC members, the Disney Vacation Club. They'll put out the feelers at 11 months out to book their vacation club rooms. So let's just say in this instance that we're booking out 11 months out. So how do you pick when you want to go? And one good thing is you can go online and see each month when it's slowest for that
Yeah.
month, and then
Crowd
compare that
calendars. Yeah.
to, yes, and then compare that to other parts of the year. Also, do you want to go to a Christmas party, Halloween party,
Yeah, I was
like you
going to
were
say that.
saying?
Yep.
That's
100%.
important. My favorite time of the year, I think I would go every year at this time, is like the third and fourth week of September. I find that to be the smallest amount of crowds. The prices are the cheapest. I mean, that's when the DVC points are the cheapest, I find, for rental anyway. Rooms are usually fairly good for the rack rate and that kind of stuff. So I really like that time of year. But I also realize I have a 5-year-old that will soon be in real school, and I can't drag them right after they just got into school. They've only been in school like a month, and then I'm taking them out for a week. I don't really want to do that. I'd be much
Yeah.
more inclined to take them out in February, like you said, or January, because they've already been in school for a few months and got down to the new routine. Um, but yeah, I think just do your research on when it's busy, and if you can handle the heat, go in the summer, if you can. If not, figure out how to work it out, maybe a long weekend, or so you're only taking your kid out of school for a couple days if that's the case. But the main thing is you have to start your planning. If this is your first trip, you have to start your planning at least a year out, in my opinion. I know that sounds crazy, but once you start doing your Disney planning, you'll understand why you need to start getting that ball rolling. And also, to lead us into the next thing, which is set a budget. A year out gives you a lot of time, in my opinion, a lot of time to start
Hmm.
planning out how are you going to afford this trip. If you haven't already saved up some money for this trip, or you're not completely done saving for the trip, how can you budget out for 12 months to allow for you to take this trip? Because Disney,
Yeah.
as we've discussed before, is not cheap. So I think a year out really gives you lots of options on how you're going to pay for it and where you're going to stay.
Yeah, I agree. 100%. You got to start early. Plus, it's fun to start getting a countdown and getting excited. At least for me, it is. I will say there are some things on like Etsy that you can find that are helpful in this planning process. They have spreadsheets that are already designed. It costs a few dollars. I'm an Excel person. I still bought one. I can manipulate it to how I want it after that. But just to get the basics of it down, it's pretty cool. It might help you if you're someone who needs that, because there are a lot of variables. We've already talked about a lot of variables that go into deciding just when you're going to go. Because do you want to do a party? What do you want to do with weather? When are your kids busy? When do you, like, for me, I'm an accountant. Certain parts of our year are busier than others. So that's got to be a consideration too for some people. Are you a teacher? You're under the same, restrictions as a student, and even more so maybe in that case. So all these things go into it. Be prepared to just write something down, take notes, and look at all your options. I think just try to stay organized that way. Yeah. With a budget, though, that's hard for a new person doing this, right? They don't really know what to expect. Sometimes they have to go through the planning process and see what it's going to cost, and then try to find ways to reduce or say, hey, I have a little more money than that to spend, because you don't know. I personally, for my budget, now this is 2026. I mean, we're talking March. I went last November. I budget for about $1,000 a day to $1,500 a day. And if you're going to buy a lot of souvenirs, it goes higher than that. So, that's just a very rough budget.
And that's for a family
me.
of four.
Family of four. That's a very rough budget for me.
And all adults now, or no? I forget the age breakdown for when you get adult food and when you get kid food, adult tickets, kid tickets. Is it 13?
Alex is under. Addie was there, I think.
Okay.
12 or 13.
Okay.
Don't come for me with the mail on that. I don't know. I don't memorize.
I'm gonna look it up. I'm gonna look it up because I think that's important.
On the fly, looking it up here. I am not an expert. I hire experts. I'm just giving you advice from a random dad. So you know what, buddy? Don't send me that mail. Don't send me that hate mail. I don't need it, pal. I don't need it, friend.
It looks like 3 to 9 are child tickets. 10 plus is adults.
Yes.
So take
I
that into
thought
amount.
that
And a
so
lot of
I was
times
right.
the child and adult tickets don't range that much in
It's
difference,
not.
but it is
No.
a savings as long as your kid's not 10 yet. So, and
Yes.
same with it under 3. So I have a 2-year-old right now. She's not going to be um 3 until she wasn't 3 on our last trip, so she was
Yes.
free. Now she will
Yeah.
be 3 on our next trip, so I'll have to pay for her. So that's just
Right.
something to keep in mind.
But of note, they're not real strict about telling adults they can't order off the kids menu. I
Right.
mean, they're pretty.
Especially at like quick service meals and that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
They're not paying
They
any
don't
attention.
know. They don't know who
No.
you're getting food for. I've
Right.
never seen anybody denied a kid's meal, but you
No.
know, I
But if
guess
you
it's
go to the
possible.
buffet, if you go to a buffet, they're
Yeah,
gonna,
I mean, yeah,
you can't order
be cool
4
about it.
kids
Yeah,
buffets. Yeah. Yeah.
don't be killer about it. If you just want a
Mhm.
smaller portion meal at a sit
Yeah.
down, whatever, that's fine. I suggest sharing meals with people. Each of you get one thing and then share, and you get to try new things. Or if you don't have that big of an appetite, just get one thing and share it, and then you save money.
Right.
So, that's, I guess, another tip. But I think the last time I did this, I mean, tickets are what? Let's run this through. Tickets are roughly $150 to $200 a person.
Yeah, it's just based on how many tickets you're getting for your stay. So I think
Yeah, that's what
they
it comes
start out
down
at like
to.
220 for one day or something like that. I mean, it ranges though,
Yeah,
time of
it
year.
does. So you can see how you can easily go over $1,000 if you're only going one day. Don't think that you're going to get away
Right.
with that for $1,000. That's an average, and that's after a longer trip. You're talking that's $900 in tickets right there. Plus, you're talking another $300 in food, and what else? Souvenirs, drinks. I mean, you're easily at $1,500 to $2,000
Right.
if you go all out for a day. But on
Right.
average, like 5, 6, 7 day trip, I'm roughly at about $1,000 a day. So take that for what it's worth. I'm also staying at value resorts,
Yeah.
and I share meals, and I only eat one sit down meal a
Well, and
day at most.
you've also been driving down too.
So driving.
So
This is not no. This is not including air
Mhm.
flights for what
Right.
that's worth. This is 100% just the cost of Disney
Yeah.
outside of transportation. So keep that in mind.
So for me, I've never driven down as an adult. I've only ever flown, and we're going to drive down probably when we go next spring, this time next year. I think that is the plan around this time next year. We would drive down. So it would be our first experience in that, but it's going to save us bunches because
I
I
mean,
think round trips, the last trip we took were like $600 or $700 per seat. So, I
yeah,
mean, you're talking per person. So we spent $2,000 just in flights just to get down there.
yeah. Now we
Um,
flew Spirit. It does save you a good amount. There
yeah.
are
Yeah, we flew
baggage fees
Southwest. Yeah.
left and right, which do add up. But I think even us, we were at $230 a ticket. So you add in baggage. We checked 2 bags. I think
Yeah.
you're at $1,000 at least.
Yeah.
On flights.
Well,
So
and we were only paying for 3 flights because my youngest was under the age that you had to get a seat for.
yeah, yeah.
So, yeah, that was rough.
And it
but-
depends where you're coming from too. Like we're coming from Ohio, so my flight's only 2 hour flight. For me, I can
Yeah.
fly cheap and be okay for 2 hours. 4 hours, 5 hours, 6 hours, those flights, you might want to be more comfortable. It's going to cost you more. So
Yeah.
just a lot of variables when you look at all
Mhm.
this stuff. And you kind of, after the first time, you realize what you would do different and you tweak it to what you're comfortable with. But, we're doing our best to give you what we can. On the first round of
I
this.
think $1,500 a day for a family of 4 probably makes sense because once you start bringing in if you're not going to bring snacks yourself, and you're going to actually buy food at the parks and do like the whole experience where you have, folks like to do like a sit down meal and that kind of
Yeah.
stuff. We're not really sit down meals as much. You do like one or two maybe, and I might do one or
Yeah.
two for a week long trip. But some people, they like to do it every day.
Yep.
So I mean, that's obviously going to increase the price. And then souvenirs, my wife and I, we're souvenir people. As you can see, I've got my Spirit jersey
Yeah.
on right now.
And behind you, all
We
the pins.
Yeah.
You got it
Um,
all. Yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah. So because of that, I mean, our budget goes so much higher. So we just
Yeah.
take that into account that, you
You
know,
made a good point, though. There are ways, once again, once you figure out what you think it's going to cost, there are ways to cut back. You can
yep.
take your own food into Disney.
Hmm.
They will let you pack your lunch, but
Yep.
now you got to carry a cooler. It's hot in the summer. So keeping things cold isn't simple, and carrying around a cooler, they're
And
not dumb. They
the
know.
cooler can only be a certain size, and it has to be a
Yeah.
soft cooler and all this other stuff. So,
They
um,
don't make it simple. The whole
no, but
process
you
is
definitely
not,
can bring in snacks, and
and
you
I
can bring in
suggest it.
granola bars and the little fish crackers and all those things that
Yep.
your kids like, and even I like to eat. So
We
it's
always do that.
yeah,
We do that just in case we're in the middle of a long wait line or a movie and someone's not feeling great, or they need something just to snack on to hold over. That
yeah, you
goes
get
a
a little
long way,
hangry.
man. Yeah, it
Yep.
does. It really goes a long way. So, yeah, that's kind of what I'd say on budget. Obviously, if you're staying at a deluxe resort, you're going to the Grand Floridian or the Contemporary
Yeah,
or Animal Kingdom or Polynesian.
yeah,
It's going to be a lot more than $1,500 a day. It is going
yeah.
to go up from there.
I mean,
Just
depending
know
on
that,
how big your room is and all that. I mean, your room could be $1,000 or $1,500, depending
yes,
on if you're
a,
getting.
a day. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
So
I mean, if
it
you're
all
staying at a
depends.
suite at the Grand Flow, you're going to be paying a lot of money. So,
Yeah, ton. So we're giving it to you from just our perspective, which is we don't go cheap. Like we don't go as cheap as we possibly can, but we do save. We spend our money more in the parks than we do at the resorts typically.
yeah. So let me ask you this. It's on the itinerary, but it's a little bit further down.
Yeah,
So let's jump to, because we're talking about it, where to stay. So if you're
yeah,
taking that conscientious budget in mind, plus the first time going, what are your opinions, your not expert opinions,
yeah.
on where to stay, your first time staying at Disney, and for a family of four? Let's always stay a
Yeah.
family of four.
Okay,
And
that's
based on
important.
all those.
That's important to note because if you do have a bigger than four, I think you're limited to how many people can be in a room, and they're fairly strict on that. That will
Right.
push you into suites, and that's a whole nother ball game. So you're going to need to consider things like the Cars suites over at Art of Animation. That's probably your best bet. For a family of four,
I think wait, I think All Star Music might have suites now.
oh, do they?
I think
That
so.
I've never known that. So yeah, look into that too. That could be a great option. For me, and where I prefer to stay, I tend to go cheaper. With that being said, I'll ask for a preferred room at one of the cheaper resorts so I don't have to walk as far. My number one resort is Pop Century.
Mhm.
And I think you are online with this a lot too because it has access to the Skyliner, which
Yeah,
is
absolutely.
top tier transportation in my mind. Now, All Stars, movies, sports, and music, a lot of them have been upgraded, and they are nice rooms. Like I stayed at
Yeah.
a renovated room in movies recently, and it was nice. Like I was
Yeah.
fully comfortable. Don't get me wrong there. It's more about location and transportation. Now, from All Stars, you're only going to get to ride the buses. They don't have gondola Skyliner access. So for me, the least expensive room on the Skyliner is Pop Century
Mhm.
or sometimes Art of Animation. I feel like the cheaper rooms are a further walk. I don't like that at the end of the night because I'm tired. So I usually go with Pop Century. Plus, I like the nostalgia from the different eras of time, the 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, whatever. I think
Yep.
it's a cool theme. Now, I did get a bounce back on my last trip, which essentially meant with that bounce back discount, which we can get into way later in the podcast after we've planned the first trip. Basically, you get a
Yep.
discount for booking within a short period of time after your trip to go to the next
Mhm.
one. I got a spot over at Port Orleans Riverside for the price of basically Pop Century, because
Yeah, and it was a preferred room, right?
I believe so. I
Yeah, I
believe it
think it was
was.
a preferred room because a lot of those bounce backs are preferreds, which is nice.
That resort was really nice. That's my first time staying at a more moderate resort. I have stayed at a deluxe. I didn't think it was worth the money if you're paying the full price retail, which I did at the time. It was about $500 a night. And that was years ago, 7, 8
Yeah.
years ago. I wasn't a big fan. I didn't think the room was that great. The resort itself was gorgeous and had great food options. It comes with all that. But I was a little disappointed. I don't spend a lot of time in the rooms. So once again, my money goes to the parks and the souvenirs and restaurants.
Right.
If I'm going to whatever it may be, I would rather spend less money at the resort and be able to pay for Lightning Lane, or whatever they're calling it now. That's my preference. My money makes that day better going there. So I think if you're conscientious, it's one of a few places. It's a value resort. If you're trying to save, you're going either All Stars. A lot of boys love the All Star sports. It's kind of cool. It's got a football field. All the pools are fun. The theming at the cheaper resorts is more Disney-esque. It's not so like elegant high-end hotel. It's more Disney themed, which for little kids is really cool because they eat it up and they love it. You just got to decide, would you rather take the buses or will you pay maybe a little bit more to ride the Skyliner over at Pop Century? That's my take.
Yeah. So I agree with most of that. I think a couple of things that you didn't touch on that I think are important to touch. One, uh, the capacity at All Star Sports is large, or all the All Stars sports, music, movie. It's large, so there's a lot of people at those places.
True.
Also, whenever they have these like competitions or any of this other stuff that they do,
Oh, you're
those
talking like
kids
football or cheerleading when they have
cheerleading,
these
all
big
that,
groups. Yeah,
or they do Jersey Week, that kind of stuff. We go back to when to visit. Look into those things, like the events that are going on when you're looking to go, because that might have a huge impact on how busy the parks are and how busy your resort
100%.
is.
Yeah.
So a lot of those people though go to the All Stars resorts, which means those places are jam packed. So while you might think I'm saving a few bucks, you're also going to be waiting for 3 or 4 buses in the morning to come
And it
to
does
finally pick
suck.
you up because the
Yeah.
line is so long. So that's something to keep in mind. Another thing to keep in mind, I love Pop. I think Pop is the best resort for the price at Disney that we've stayed at. Um, and that's basically based on the Skyliner access. They're remodeling some of the stuff. It's kind of still got a cool, like zany kind of personality to itself. You're really close to animation. But my biggest complaint about the Pop Century is I think the pools are not
Yeah.
great.
They're not.
They lack all excitement. Where I think all-star pools are way better than
I
the
agree.
pop pools. Now,
Yeah.
I'm not going to Disney to swim in pools. I like to swim, but I'm not paying all that money to swim in pools. But I know a lot of people do, or they'll take their days off with their kids and
Yeah.
they'll swim on those days. So if you're looking for something like that, I would not stay at if you're staying if you're looking for a Skyliner, I would look elsewhere. And if you're going to look elsewhere on the Skyliner, I think Caribbean Beach is the way to go for if you're looking for pools. Because the pools at Caribbean Beach are a lot of fun. It's a really cool atmosphere there. I've never
Mhm.
stayed there before, but we've walked around there. We've done some park hopping or not park hopping, resort hopping and take a look. And actually, my wife and I are staying there in December for the first time. So it'll be really cool to walk around and see it all. But I think those pools, because we have seen the pools, they are so cool. I mean,
Okay.
they've got like the shipwreck or whatever with the
Yeah.
big slide and
Yeah.
all this other stuff that some of the pop doesn't really offer, and even Art of Animation doesn't really offer like the big slides for the pools or anything. It's just basically a pool. So
Is
I think
Caribbean
that's something
Beach
to keep
the
in
one
mind.
super big. Like it takes a while to
Yes.
walk to. So keep that
Yep.
in mind. It's
Hmm.
a large resort. Area wise, it is going to take a lot longer walk to get to your skyline
Right.
access. Plan ahead for that. I mean, you'll
So
kind
you
of
can get
learn.
preferred rooms there, and since we're using a bounce back, which you were just talking about, and I'm sure we'll get into on another episode, but because we're using the bounce back, we got a preferred room, and or
Nice.
we requested a preferred room, which we should get,
Yep.
and it's going to be like right up there. So the Skyliner's like around the corner,
That's
so it
perfect.
shouldn't be
Yeah.
too bad. But you're right. If you're way like to the south, oh man, it is you basically have to take a bus to get to the Skyliner in some
Yeah.
places. I mean, it's so far away, but you
Keep
just
that in
keep that in
mind
mind.
if you.
There's a lot of those places throughout Disney where, like at Pop, that if you stay up in like the 80s and 90s, it's a long walk to the
It's still a
Skyliner.
walk. Yeah.
So you
So
just got to,
keep.
and in some cases, you'd be better off. Yeah, I mean, yeah,
I mean, if you have any handicap people or anybody who has disability or even back pain or struggles and plans to be going pretty slow and just taking it all in, you definitely want to splurge for the preferred room. It is a lot closer than the
right.
standard rooms. It's a little more money. It's worth it. It's closer to the cafeteria. Usually, it's closer to the transportation. So that's our take. I think.
Yeah,
I can't speak on anything more than Animal Kingdom Lodge in terms of luxury resorts. And
yeah,
Animal Kingdom Lodge of all the luxury resorts is probably the worst for transportation because you're way out there, close to nothing but Animal Kingdom. So, like, if you're gonna do it, the the bonus to Contemporary and Grand Floridian is, monorail and the walking path and being right next to Magic Kingdom. So,
right.
and a lot of your time is spent moving from place to place. So keep that in mind. How much is your time worth? What are you willing to spend to save time and not be at the end of the night? If you've got a resort that's way away from where you're at, and you've got kids who are exhausted, and you've got to wait for 2 buses, and then you got to walk to a non-preferred room, saving the 150 to $200 seems like a great idea when you do it
Right.
until you get there and you're suffering. So I'm a big proponent of the preferred rooms. That's my take.
Well, and
But
also we haven't touched on this much, and I don't think we've really ever really mentioned it on the pod, but there are sister resorts. So there's like the Swan and Dolphin, and there's
yes,
some other ones that oftentimes have a nice Disney feel to them, luxury type feel to them, but they are less expensive than some of the on-property resorts, and they provide transportation to the parks and to Disney Springs. I've never stayed at any of these places before, but it's definitely something I would look into if you were going for the first time and you just wanted to be at the parks and didn't care much about being like fully in the Disney bubble that we talk about.
yep.
I think that might be a good option too. Like I said, I've never stayed. Have you ever stayed at any of those?
I
Those
haven't. Steph has. She could
or
talk
family
more on
resorts,
it,
whatever
but
they call them. I forget what they call them.
I think Steph stayed at the Swan one time. Her dad had a conference. I think it's here. I go. I'm talking. I'm talking with very little knowledge. I believe
Just
the
enough knowledge to
resorts.
be wrong.
I feel like I heard the resorts were those like the Swan and Dolphin were owned by other people, but managed by Disney
Oh, that
cast
could be.
members. I
Obviously, guys, get in the chat. Let us know because I
Yeah,
honestly
don't
don't know
quote
much
me on
about
that,
them.
but
That's definitely something you should research, though. Like if you're looking in for a trip, just see what the
but
prices are and what they have to offer. They might have really good amenities. I know one of them. At least I'm pretty sure one of them offers like a spa type
yep.
offering, and you don't get a lot of that on Disney properties at Disney World. So I think there's only like one or two options to do that. So that's also if you're into that too.
That's another thing that made me think of. There's other types of transportation besides just buses and Skyliner.
Yeah.
If you where you stay, you might have monorail access. If you stay over on like Boardwalk over by Epcot, you have Skyliner access there. But over at Riverside, we had pontoon access to Disney Springs, the big shopping complex, which is a lot of fun and a cool way to get around. Plus, you're guaranteed a seat on a pontoon because you're not allowed to stand. Whereas when I travel, I give my seat up to everybody on the bus. Whereas the gondolas and the pontoon or whatever it may be, I don't have to because you can't. So just a lot of things to think about. Do your research. Definitely, that's a big point on when you're going to. Find out when. You got to look at these crowd calendars because I went one time when I thought there's nothing going on. There's no spring break. There's no major thing. And then Pop Warner, which is Pee Wee football, was there, and it was chaotic. For the first 2 days, it was packed, especially at Magic Kingdom. There's things you don't know about that take up a lot of time at Disney and in space because they have events. Just be aware of it. Just definitely look at the calendar and say, of the dates I have, what's my best option, and narrow it down. And I really think resorts, that's based more on budget. What can you afford? If I could afford, like if I had screw you money and could afford anything, I would not be staying at Pop. I would be staying, probably for me, somewhere on the boardwalk because I've got Skyliner access. I'm right next to Epcot. I basically walk in.
I know that. That's probably my preferred resort if I ever could stay there and pay the lump sum of money to stay there. That's probably where I'd want to stay next.
Just because of location and amenities. Yeah. Plus, it's a neat area. Also, if you do go the Park Hopper Pass, which, spoiler alert, I don't generally advise that, you could go into Epcot, do a half day there, and then monorail over to Magic Kingdom, monorail back, and you're right at your resort area again. Right. I mean, they let off in the front of the park. You're going to have to walk a little bit, but there's different options. You can get creative with it is my whole point. So take it for what it's worth. But we are doing this based on a family of 4 that is somewhat budget conscious. My pick is probably, like you said, probably Pop, followed by either the All-Stars or Caribbean Beach. Depends where. Yeah. Depends the vibe I'm going for.
Let me just throw this out there too. So my wife and I, we stayed at the Riviera, which is also a Skyline resort, but it's a little bit more, it's a moderate, a little more expensive resort. And we stayed there for 2 or 3 nights. I can't remember now. And we spent a lot of money on it. I wanted to try it out. We were thinking about getting DVC there, so I wanted to try it out first. So we actually rented DVC points to experience it before we just threw a lump sum of money into, a forever vacation spot. And after staying there, it was a great place. Super nice, super luxurious and everything like that. But we didn't spend a lot of time in the room. So then we were like, well, what are we doing? We're staying at a place that is beautiful, but there's just not much, we want to go to the parks. We want to go to Disney Springs. We want to see other resorts and go to eat other places. So that's definitely something to keep in mind too, is like, how much time do you plan on being there? Like if you're not planning on being there much, then Pop's the way to go. Or if you've got a bigger group, stay at Art of Animation and get yourself a suite. And it's obviously more expensive, but it's more comfortable because you have a bedroom plus a Murphy bed and a pull-out couch. So you have some usability there. So I think that's all fair there.
Yeah, or like you said, if you're a pool person, Caribbean Beach has got great pools. Yep. It's a good option. Yep. So
okay. But if you're just trying to get into Disney, stay at All Stars for first time. That's my opinion.
Yep.
Give it a try and see it.
My opinion is Pop for the Skyliner. It's not much more money, but if you really want to go as least expensive as possible,
bare bones, and
you don't mind the buses, then All Stars the way to go. It's pretty nice now. So
all right. So next is length of stay, length of trip.
Yeah. So this is interesting. So the thing is, the longer you stay, the more value and the more days you go to the parks, the more value you get out of your cost of tickets. because after like 5-6 days, it gets significantly cheaper to go another day to the
Yeah,
parks.
like the 6 day
It's
ticket is like 10 or $15 per person for that to
right,
add on the
because
6th day.
yep, exactly. However, you will be paying for more nights at the hotel. That adds
Mm-hmm.
up quick. More food, more everything. So your wife will say, I'm going to go as long as I can afford to go. We talked
Yeah, I mean
about this today when
she
we were
likes
all
an
together.
11-day trip and all this stuff. That is not
Yeah.
for me, but that's what she likes.
We are 6 day, 5 night people. That means we travel in, go to Disney Springs, hit up a different park each day for 4 days, and then we fly out. That's like ideal, maybe 7 days, a week. Beyond that, I mean, don't get me wrong, I would love to be there longer, but you get a little
Right.
tired. So we would just end up working in pool days to take time off. And then I'm like, well, do I really want to spend the money to go to a pool? Goes back to our philosophy. I don't want to be at the resort that long. That's not what I'm there for. So, or I end up going to the park for 2 days and doing things that I missed. And all that's great, but it does add up. The price adds up quick. So you got to find how that fits your budget. All this kind of works around your budget, right? Like, and what you can afford and what you want to afford.
Yeah. So I'm in the same mind of the 5 days, 4 nights. Well, let me say this. I have two different trips. So if there's a trip with just my wife, or like when we went on our trip, 5 days was perfect. I thought it was great.
Okay.
But my 5 days don't do 5 or 4 parks. I have a complete, you get there in the morning as soon as you can. You do Disney
Mm-hmm.
Springs, or you
Yep.
do, if they're doing the offering of of one of the water parks like Typhoon Lagoon, you do Typhoon Lagoon that day because it's going to be free again this summer. They've announced that your
Yep.
first day at the park, or his first day on property, you can get tickets to Typhoon Lagoon sometime starting in the summer. Um, so if you can do that, do that. And then I do 3 park days. And then my last day is whatever you want it to be. And hopefully you have a late flight out. So if you can mix in Disney Springs there, you could play golf, you could do putt putt, whatever you want to do with your
Go eat
time. But
breakfast at another resort. Yeah.
yep,
Any of those
my wife
things.
and I, we love to resort hop and just look at other
Yeah.
places and just like go to the Polynesian and just walk around and see the beauty of the Polynesian resort, or go to the Contemporary and see that monstrosity. Yeah, I said it.
Yep.
So, those types of things. I, I think that's a better use of my time with my
Yep.
wife, is just being together and getting an experience as much Disney while we're there. Right now, there's no purpose for me to go to Animal Kingdom because half of it's closed.
Fair.
So, like, I'm not going to spend my money and my time going to Animal Kingdom for a half a day park. I'd rather go do other stuff and not feel like I have to be somewhere. There is a value to being on vacation and actually feeling somewhat relaxed. And you don't get that a lot at Disney, especially on park days. So if you can work in some quiet days, maybe a quiet day after you go to a late night party or a late night hour type thing. That is preferred for me. Now on the other end, I like the 7 day, 6 night trip. Same idea where you get there early in the morning, as early as you can on the first day, and you leave late on the last day. You do all 4 parks in there. You might do Magic Kingdom twice during that trip because, a lot of people like
Mm.
to book in Magic Kingdom. They want it. The
Yep.
last thing they see at Disney parks is the castle, at midnight when they're walking out.
Yep.
And that's how my wife is. So, I'm good with that trip too. But once again, it's just going to cost, it's going to
It's gonna
cost more
cost
and more
more.
money
Yeah.
the longer you stay. Yeah.
Yeah. I'll say to your point and your credit, my answer was purely based on the family of 4 scenario.
Mhm.
If it's just me and my wife, I'm even with my kids. Sometimes we do the 5 day, 4 night ordeal. We, even 4 day, 3 night has been done,
Yeah.
but we tend to rotate what parks we go to. Now, with that being said, every time we go, we see Magic Kingdom because that's our favorite. But if we skip, right now we're skipping Animal Kingdom, like you said, because there's so much construction going on. Once that's redone and good, I'll skip another one. And then it's going to become very hard for me because my favorite rides are over at Hollywood and my favorite food is over at Epcot. And so now I'm going to have to part ways with something. And I'm not very good about that because Animal Kingdom is my easiest one to miss. I know people aren't going to agree with that. That's my take. I don't like a lot of the food at Animal Kingdom because I'm not a foodie. Now, if you are a foodie, you love Asian, you want to try African cuisine, there's a lot of good food you can get there if that's you, and you're not going to want to skip that. But this is why Disney's so diverse. You got to think of a lot of things before you make decisions on what you want to do.
Yeah. And
I'm
think
of the opinion, though, if it's your first time, you need to go to every park. Like, especially if it's your only time. If it's a lifetime trip.
I think that's what a lot of people do wrong, though, is they go their first time and they go to Epcot and Magic Kingdom and they just experience those two, which are great. They're the two, in my opinion, the two best parks. But if that's all you're experiencing and you're just hitting it and then you're leaving, you're going to leave tired, exhausted, and not, got the full Disney bubble. That's why I think the people that take the short trips at the beginning are like, well, that really wasn't great. I could have just went to like Cedar Point in Ohio or whatever farms or whatever it's called. I don't know what those other places are called, but Six Flags, whatever they're called.
Yeah, Gardens.
Busch Gardens, yeah. So I just look at it as you got to give it a chance for your first time too. So if you're going to do that, I do feel like you need to try to get to all four parks and get a Disney Springs day in if you can.
Yeah, I agree. And if you can go to the water parks or the mini golfs, or if you're a golfer, go play their golf courses. There's so much to do for everybody at Disney. I'm not a big fan of the short trips. We've all of us Disney nerds, have heard, oh yeah, I'm going to Orlando for a week and I'm going to do 1 day at Disney World. I'm just doing Disney World. I'm not doing the other parks because they call Magic Kingdom Disney World.
Yeah.
I know we all sit there and probably cringe a little bit because we're
definitely judging.
Yeah, definitely judging. But that's not Disney World. That's Magic Kingdom, and that is awesome. Do not get me wrong. That is fantastic. But you will look at the rest of your trip and compare it to that and say, well, I did these other things I enjoyed too for a lot less money. Which brings me to my other point.
Yeah, go ahead.
No, okay.
No, I was just going to say real quick on that. Let me just say real quick on that. If you're coming from a point of view from Disneyland and you compare Disneyland to Magic Kingdom, Disneyland has so much more to offer in the one park. So I completely understand why Disneyland folks come to Magic Kingdom and are like, yeah, the castle's bigger, but our park's got so many more attractions, blah, blah, blah. And then they don't take into account the full 4-park experience and all that kind of stuff. And I know they have California Adventure too, but I mean, when you compare the two, it starts getting a little more equal when you have all 4 parks compared to just the 2 over there. And I shouldn't say just the 2 because those 2 parks are epic also.
Absolutely. I think that's a good point. I also think, please, for whatever you do, you're paying a good amount of money to go here. Make the most of it. Do not sit there and think about what everything costs while you do it. It is a one-way trip to hating Disney World. And now you might say, well, that was dumb. I hate it. I didn't like it. Yeah, okay. I get it. But why did you want to create that experience to dislike when you're spending all the money? Find a way to like it. Go in there, be a kid at heart, forget about the world's problems and your responsibilities. You've spent the money already. I encourage people to get Disney gift cards before they even go. That way they don't feel as guilty spending the money on souvenirs and stuff when they do go. Because if you line item everything you do and review it and look at the receipts, and you're going to be miserable. Like it's just, if you're a budget conscious person, you're not, it's not going to be fun. You have to go, let it go, have fun. That's why I say save the money. Go for a week on your first trip. Do everything. have a little time built in because you're probably not going to be used to the whole experience of walking 20 miles a day and, whatever. And just maybe you build in some rest days. If you go for a week, you can do that. You can do 2 parks a rest day, 2 parks a rest day. That's my take. I'm with you. I don't think you're going to get, if you're somebody who wants to know what the hype is all about with Disney, the short trip and and constantly worrying about the money is going to eradicate any attempt at you understanding why we love it.
Yeah, and back to the budget thing you were just talking about. So when you said Disney to gift cards, that's a great idea, and something people don't talk about enough a lot is the not the hey, you can get 5% off buying Disney gift cards at Target or whatever or other places. It's more the ease of mind. So I'm a budgeter.
Yeah.
I worry about money constantly. Even when my wife and I have no worry to worry about money, I still worry about money. I always
Yeah.
check things and I look at those things. I do the budget most of the time. So for like just our weekly, monthly budget, I handle most of that stuff. So I worry about money and I worry about money at the park. I think, oh, we just spent $150 on one meal for,
Yeah.
3 people. That is just bonkers, banana pants.
Yeah.
But I also think about it as like, well, we did budget for that. Or I try to say, well, we did get gift cards for that. Or if
Yep.
you're really that concerned about the food, which food adds up fast, you can always get the dining plan, which I don't actually prefer. But the greatness of the dining plan is it's bought and paid for. You
Yep.
already paid for it. So every time you scan your Magic Band, it's just taking off a credit that you either already paid for or will be paid for,
Yeah.
depending on how you worked it out. But you don't think about like that was a $45 steak meal or something like
Yeah.
that. You just think,
Right.
oh, that was one of my dining plans, and
That
you
was
move
one of my
on. So if
plans.
it's one of
Yeah.
those things that really bothers you, I think dining plan could work for you. And that's for another pod to talk about the dining plan. But that's another way to like ease the worry of the budget. But I think going back to what the gift cards, what's really nice is what we do is we ask everywhere if they take if there's a discount for Disney Visa. Because we're not AP, we're not DVC, we don't have
Yeah.
any other discounts, we ask everywhere. If they're not Disney Visa, we charge it to the room. And then when we pay for the room, we pay with Disney gift cards. If it's Disney Visa, we pay with our Visa, and then we pay that off once we get back from the trip. So it's
Yeah.
kind of like that's how we handle it. So we save as much as we, and save because we're buying silliness. We're buying pens up here and all this other
Yeah.
stuff that we
Yeah.
don't need, but we're saving on, I guess, if you think of it that way. We're not spending as much as we could be if we, just paid out of pocket for everything real quick. So
Yeah.
I think gift cards are great, and it does ease the burden a little bit when you finally get there. So
Yeah.
you're
Because
not
if
feeling that heaviness.
Yeah, because if you are, and it's reasonable that you are, because there is sticker shock there, especially if you're not a regular, is your first time. There is sticker shock there. Just let it roll. Just say it's one of those things like F it. I'm here now. I'm just gonna live it up, and especially if this is you're only gonna go one time in your lifetime. You're not gonna be a repeat person. You're just taking your kids because it's an
Or
iconic
it's like
thing
a
to
once
do.
every 10-year type trip type
Yeah,
thing,
man.
like where you really got to save your pennies for.
Yeah, just realize that get the most out of it by having the most fun you can have and eliminating stress. That's my point. Okay.
And I'm a big believer in like you only live once, so you should experience life. But I also understand, like I said, I panic about budgets and monies and that kind of thing. So
Yeah,
get to your. This is why it goes back to what I talked about at the beginning. You need to start planning at least a year out.
you do.
If only,
Yeah.
if only for budget, start planning it because it just makes the trip so much better. Because it's not cheap going to Disney. It's never cheap doing anything Disney. So
Yep.
if you can start planning, even if you can't plan where you're going to stay at 12 months or at 15 months, start planning how you're going to budget for, $1,000 or $1,500 a day for a trip
Yeah.
and work it out. So maybe you're only saving $50 a month or $50 a paycheck or however you save. So it's not like all at once you just suddenly owe like $7,000 or whatever for
Yeah, but
your, this or that.
plus the earlier you stay, or the earlier you plan, like there's been plenty of times we've said, hey, if you're getting us gift cards this year, we'd love Disney gift cards for Christmas.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yep.
that's an easy win for everybody. But if you don't plan ahead, you that's not even an option. You know what I mean? Like
Right.
that's just. But I understand why people don't know to plan ahead, because if you're just going to the beach, some people plan 4 or 5 months, 6 months in advance, and that's
Not even
fine.
that. Sometimes it's a month out or 2 weeks out, like my parents. Hit me up and say, hey, get me an Airbnb.
Right. But this is not that.
Just happened.
This is very different. It is you will have less fun if you don't plan in advance. That's just the bottom line. So take it for what it's worth.
You'll have less fun, and chances are you're going to pay more too.
Yes, absolutely. All right, what's next on the itinerary?
I mean, that pretty much does it. You had like how many park days, which parks, rest days, and park hoppers. I'll say on rest days, I'm a huge proponent on rest days no matter what. And my rest days aren't rest days, as we've already discussed. I like to do resort hopping and go to Disney Springs. So you're still getting a zillion steps in. It's just not the amplified, being inside of a park and noise and all that all the time. You have, you can take a break when you want to. You're not rushing to get to your next lightning lane or your reservation, and you can kind of take it easier. So,
with that being said, if you do have young kids, you can push them too hard, especially in the heat. Yeah. Keep that in mind. Kids love pool days. They love just playing games in the room and with their new toys or whatever you got. They like watching movies. And a lot of these resorts do movie nights where you sit outside and watch movies. Kids eat that up. You can have a worse time. As much as we said we spend all our time in the parks, if you have young kids, you can have a worse time pushing them too hard. Yep. So, keep that in mind as well. I'm a proponent of 2 days. One with young kids, go in 2 days at the park, 1 day back at the resort, 2 days at the park, 1 day back at the resort. And then your last day is whatever. But that's a pretty decent method, generically.
Yeah, and some people like to do the half days where they go back midday and take naps and that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
We've not done that. We've not found that was needed. Our kids sleep in strollers, so we haven't needed it up to this point.
Plus, I find leaving midday, and then you got to take the transportation. Now, if you're staying at the Grand Floridian and or you're staying at the Polynesian and you can take a quick ride, sure, that's great. Or you're staying at Boardwalk and you're at Epcot, yeah, sure, go back to your resort for half a day. If you're staying over at All-Star Sports or Movies and you got to take a bus that takes half an hour to get you there or whatever, and loading up your stroller and loading up all your stuff, and then you sit down and you rest and maybe you sleep for a little bit or you go play, and you got to convince yourself to get back up and do it all again. If you're not Disney obsessed, that is a bigger struggle than you realize. So I'm not a big fan of that personally. I just find places to rides and shows to go take a nap in. That's my
or
thing.
Just get air conditioning and get a snack
and cool down and a snack.
Yeah,
and take it easy.
Like I said, if your kids are little enough to be in a stroller, you get them in a nice shady breezy place so they can take a nap. That's great. So
I agree.
I
do want to note the park hopper. I'm not a fan. I feel like each park at this point, especially once Animal Kingdom is done, will have so much to do and offer that if you really do it all, you should spend more than half a day there.
Mm-hmm.
With the caveat that if you are really obsessed with the night shows, you've got more to offer at Fantasmic at Hollywood, Happily Ever After, which is my favorite, over at Magic Kingdom, and to Pierce's dismay, the fireworks show at Epcot, which I do like, he does not care for. You could kick over to any of those if that's your favorite thing. My thing, the only one that doesn't have a great fireworks or light show is Animal Kingdom. They do have a light up ceremony on the tree, which is kind of cool. And they used to do something back on the water in Asia. I don't know what is going on there now. You'll have to look that up. But I just don't find the value. It costs a lot more money for the park hopper, and I don't need it, and I don't use it. So
I'll say this: if you're going to be there for 2 days and you wanted to see all 4 parks, I can kind of see the value of doing and you don't go very often. Like, say you're from the West Coast or something, and you just want to go see all 4 parks. I get it. You're not going to do very many rides at each park. You're going to spend a lot of time taking transportation from one park to the next, and because it's not as easy as just going like, "Hey, I just want to go to Epcot."
yep.
There's ways of getting there. So,
But once again,
I
I feel
can
like
see
that's
the
not your.
value.
I feel like that's not your first trip.
Absolutely. Completely agree. I don't think there's any use for a park hopper on a first trip, especially if you're taking 4 days to go to 4 parks.
Yeah.
I think
If you're
that
someone who
sums it
goes
up.
all the time and you know your favorite things and can get through every park in a half day, sure, go for it. I mean,
Yeah.
if that's what you want to do. That's not what we do, but
No.
yeah.
And I just don't like to feel rushed. I want to be rushed when it's time to be rushed. Like, hey, we need to get to our lightning lane or our reservation. But other than that, or oh no, it's starting to rain. We better rush under this building.
Yeah.
But other
Yeah.
than
Yeah.
that, I mean, I like to see when I'm at Disney, I like to just take it all in. Like, take all the Disney bubbleness and get the full effect of Disney. And a lot of times that can be lost when you're running around. So,
Yep.
but I think
I
we can
couldn't
talk about
agree
that on a different
more.
pod, on the next episode or whatever we're
Yeah,
gonna do.
absolutely.
So,
Yeah. So
yeah.
check in for part 2 coming up. I couldn't agree more. So yeah. Those are our preliminary tips. If you're someone who's already started your trip, check in for the next ones. If you already started planning your trip, check in for the next ones. You'll have more info there. We'll do more rundown on some things like your food options and a little more maybe on your resorts. We'll give you a little more info on that.
Yep.
But that's the preliminary, just to get you started. I'll be honest, I plan my trip 13, 14 months in advance. But
I mean, we do too. We're actually planning our December trip. It's a little less than 11 months, but that was because our wives were on a trip together. So
yep.
we were kind of waiting on them to get back from that trip before we would schedule our bounce back. So
Yep.
we're using the bounce back on that to schedule our December trip. So it's kind of like, well, we can't really book anything until we get back. And real quick about the bounce back, we didn't really even have an opportunity to get like a spot at Pop because they had already sold all that time. So we
That
were
can
at
happen, yeah.
we were at 10 months, and we were already sold on all those bounce backs. So we
Yeah.
had to get Caribbean Beach,
Yeah,
which
yeah.
we're actually really stoked to go to. But we'd initially requested Pop just because of the reasons we've already discussed. So
Yep. All right. So don't send me any more hate mail.
keep sending it. It's fine.
No, don't bring that heat.
Maybe not
you
hate
can-
mail. Just put it in the chat, man. I want to see the comments too. So
Yeah, send it to old Pierce. He'll take it. Yeah, you know who
Just
you
put it-
are.
just
Whoever
put it in
sent
the
me
chat.
this.
I see the chats, so put it out
Yeah.
there.
Yeah, put in the chat. Give him the crap, and
Yeah.
specifically call him out. Leave me alone. I'm a nice guy.
I don't have that many hot takes other than contemporaries. Kind of lame. It's just me.
But I do. But I like the Chef Mickey's. It gets a lot of hate, but I like the Chef Mickey's. They had
I don't mind
mint.
Chef Mickey's. I just think the building of contemporary is not
It's
contemporary,
kinda lame.
and it's kind of lame.
It was when it was first built, but
Yeah, but I'm saying like now it's kind of just old and meh.
fair enough. I'm not. I
Yeah.
wouldn't buy. I wouldn't go there probably. But they do
Not
have.
now.
They did have mint Mickey waffles one time that were phenomenal. So yeah,
I would like to try that.
that was really good. It was really good. Yeah, it was really good. All right, with that, we'll see you next week. See ya.
Bye.